There's a warmth in the air that morning, the kind of light that makes everything look like a photograph you'd want to keep forever. Ethan leans against the kitchen counter, coffee in hand, watching Lila zip her suitcase shut. She's humming softly, her hair loose, the faint smell of coconut sunscreen filling the room. "It's just 5 days," she says, smiling like she's trying to reassure him and herself at the same time. He forces a grin, pretending it doesn't sting that she's going halfway across the world without him. She teases him for being dramatic, kisses his cheek, and says, "My phone dies every 2 hours, so don't freak out if I go quiet." Her laugh trails down the hall as she rolls her suitcase out the door. Ethan watches from the window as the taxi pulls away, her hand waving once, briefly, before disappearing behind tinted glass. The house feels heavier when it's just him. The coffee cools in his hands untouched, as the hum of her absence settles like static in his chest. By noon, Ethan distracts himself with work, trying to silence the echo in the apartment. Already, every sound feels exaggerated. The click of a pen, the hum of his laptop, the tick of the clock that she used to say was too loud for sleeping. He checks his phone out of habit. No new messages. He sends one anyway, a photo of their cat sprawled on the couch with a caption, "He misses you already." Hours pass. Nothing. The sun shifts, shadows stretch, and that first flicker of anxiety starts to take shape. Though he doesn't name it yet. Instead, he whispers to the empty room, "She's probably busy." But the words feel rehearsed. That evening, he FaceTimes her. No answer. Tries again. Straight to voicemail. He scrolls her Instagram, hoping for signs of life, but there's nothing new since her airport post. He lingers on that last photo, her smile tilted toward the camera, airplane window behind her glowing orange from sunset. He remembers how she said, "It'll be good for me to get away." He told her to have fun. But the way she avoided his eyes then, he feels it now, sharper. He leaves the phone face down. The silence from her end louder than anything. The next morning brings a thin gray light. Ethan wakes to an empty bed again. He checks his phone before his feet even hit the floor. Still nothing. A strange mix of irritation and worry begins to pulse in his chest. He opens their shared photo storage to look for her recent uploads. Something small. Anything to prove she's okay. The folder is still blank. He exhales, shuts the laptop, and tells himself he is being ridiculous. "She's fine," he mutters, but even his voice sounds like he doesn't believe it. By the third day, Ethan has stopped pretending not to care. He keeps his phone plugged in beside him, checking every few minutes. When a notification finally appears, his breath catches, but it's just a bank alert. He laughs bitterly at himself. Outside, rain begins to fall, soft and steady. He stands at the window, watching it trail down the glass, feeling like he's waiting for something that's already slipping away. He whispers her name into the empty air, as if it might carry across the ocean. 4 days. That's how long it takes for Ethan's patience to turn into something darker. The clock ticks differently now, every hour stretching out like a dare. When the phone finally rings, he freezes. Lila's name glows across the screen like a trick of the light. He answers too fast, his voice rough from waiting. She laughs softly, almost nervously. "Sorry, baby. My phone totally died, and the Wi-Fi here is a nightmare." Her tone feels casual, but too light, too practiced. He says he missed her, that he was worried. She says she's fine, that the trip's been amazing. But beneath her words, he hears distance, a space where something unsaid lives. When they hang up, Ethan stares at his reflection in the black screen, realizing her voice didn't sound like home anymore. After the call, Ethan replays every second in his head, dissecting her tone, the tiny pauses between her sentences. He remembers how she said, "we," when describing dinner, then quickly corrected to I. He tells himself it's nothing, but the thought lodges like a splinter. That night, unable to sleep, he opens their shared cloud folder again. This time, something's there. An album titled Santorini 2025. The first thumbnail shows Lila in sunglasses, her smile framed by blue domes and white walls. His chest loosens in relief until he notices the reflection in her lenses, the faint outline of a man sitting opposite her. The next morning, Ethan scrolls through the photos one by one. At first, they're innocent. Lila laughing with her friends, holding cocktails, posing near the cliffs. But then the framing changes. The angles are intimate, as if someone else is taking them with familiarity, with affection. In one, her hair is caught mid-laugh, head turned slightly toward whoever's behind the camera. Ethan's fingers tremble on the trackpad. He zooms in, sees a hand, masculine, resting at the edge of the frame. His stomach drops. He calls her again. No answer. Again. Voicemail. Each ring feels longer than the last. Finally, he sends a message. Hey, just checking in. Hope everything's okay. Minutes pass. Then hours. He scrolls back to the photos, to the way she was smiling, freer than she ever looked with him. His mind loops through every small lie she's ever told, every offhand joke about her annoying co-worker. Suddenly, the man's outline in her sunglasses feels too familiar. That night, sleep doesn't come. Ethan sits in the living room, the glow of the streetlights painting slow-moving patterns across the floor. He scrolls back through her old messages. Rereads the once made him smile. They feel foreign now, written by a stranger wearing her voice. His thumb hovers over her contact name, then finally sets the phone down. Outside, rain begins to fall again. Soft, but relentless. The kind that doesn't wash things clean, it just keeps everything blurred. Ethan wakes with his laptop still open beside him. The screen glows faintly in the gray morning light. The album's still waiting. He scrolls further than he did last night, slower this time, as if the truth might change if he moves carefully enough. The photos turn darker, more intimate, more careless. Lila's hair tangled from sea breeze, her face sunburned, her laughter no longer directed at the camera, but toward whoever's holding it. He pauses at one shot. Her sitting on a white terrace at sunset, holding a wine glass, her smile soft and private. Reflected in the window beside her, he sees him. Aaron, the coworker she once called annoying. Ethan's stomach twists. The moment freezes. The sound of his own breath becomes unbearable. He scrolls through the next few photos with shaking hands. Lily, in a white dress, walking along the shore at dusk. Another of her, holding her shoes, footprints trailing behind her, and then one more, taken from behind, her hand reaching back towards someone unseen. The shadows are long, the sky fading violet, but Ethan can see enough to know it's Aaron's wrist. The leather bracelet he's worn for years, the one Ethan's seen at office parties. The world tilts. His throat burns. Every image feels like a slow-motion punch, framed perfectly to hurt. The next photo stops him cold. A dinner table lit by candles, the ocean blurred in the background. Lila's smile isn't for the camera. It's for him. Her eyes soft, her shoulders tilted inward. In that way she only does when she's in love. Ethan zooms in, tracing the reflection in her wine glass. Two figures, their faces close. He remembers how she once said Aaron made her uncomfortable. He laughs quietly, a sound that doesn't belong to humor. The laugh turns into a shake, and the shake into silence. Hours pass without him realizing. He doesn't eat, doesn't move, just scrolls. One betrayal at a time. A photo of her asleep on his chest. Another of them laughing on a balcony. A video thumbnail. The two of them dancing, her hair catching firelight. He doesn't press play. He can't. His hand hovers over the trackpad, trembling. Every heartbeat feels like static. The girl he loved isn't just gone. She's been replaced by someone he can't recognize. By dawn, the apartment feels haunted. The last photo sits open. Lila asleep on Aaron's chest, her face turned toward the camera. Peaceful, almost innocent. Ethan's hands hover above the keys, shaking uncontrollably. He exhales through gritted teeth, rage and heartbreak colliding in the same breath. He closes the laptop slowly, like a lid on something dead. The sun begins to rise outside, painting the walls gold again, as if mocking him with warmth he can no longer feel. He whispers her name, once, softly, like a prayer for someone who's already gone. Lila returns on a Sunday afternoon, the sound of her suitcase wheels echoing through the hall like something from a dream Ethan no longer believes in. He's sitting on the couch when she opens the door. Calm. Too calm. She drops her bag, smiles as if nothing's changed, and leans down to kiss him. He doesn't move. The air between them is thick with unspoken things. "Hey," she says softly, trying to read his expression. "You look tired." He just nods. "Yeah," he whispers. "I've been up all night looking at photos." Her eyes flicker. Just a second. But it's enough. Her breath catches, and in that tiny silence, he has his answer. They stand in the kitchen, the same place she left from. He asks quietly, "Who took those pictures?" She stammers, "What? Pictures?" But her voice trembles before the lie can land. Ethan slides his phone across the counter. On screen, one of the photos glows. Lila laughing in candlelight, Aaron's hand reaching across the frame. The silence that follows is absolute. Her eyes fill fast, a flicker of guilt, then panic. "It wasn't what it looks like," she whispers, "but it looks like everything he heard." Lila starts talking fast, disjointed words, excuses. "We were drunk. It was stupid. It didn't mean anything." Her voice cracks on anything. Ethan stares at her, unmoving, his silence louder than shouting. When she finally stops, the only sound is the faint hum of the fridge. He looks down, laughs once, dry, hollow. "You told me he annoyed you," he says. Lila's tears fall harder. He did. Until he didn't. The line cuts like glass. He steps back, as if her words carry weight. For a long time, neither of them speaks. Then Ethan says quietly, "Did you love him?" The question lands heavy, absolute. Lila's lips part, but no words come out. Her silence answers for her. Ethan exhales, closes his eyes, and the sound almost breaks her. "I wanted to believe you," he says finally. "I defended you. To everyone." His voice falters. "You let me." Lila reaches for him, but he steps back. The small distance feels infinite. That night, they lie in the same bed, but on different sides. The air between them, cold and loud, with everything unsaid. Ethan's eyes stay open, tracing the ceiling, shadows. Beside him, Lila's soft sobs break the quiet. For a moment he almost reaches for her, out of habit, out of love. But his hand stops halfway. He turns his back, instead. Outside, the city hums, indifferent. On the nightstand, his phone glows with the last photo he saw, her laughing under Greek light. It stays lit until the battery dies, leaving the room in total darkness. Days bleed together. The apartment feels smaller now, every corner echoing with something broken. Ethan moves through it like a ghost. Work emails unanswered, meals half-eaten, sleep unreachable. Lila tries to apologize over and over, her voice soft and trembling, but her words slide off him like rain on glass. He doesn't shout, doesn't cry. He just withdraws, piece by piece, until even silence feels too loud. One night, he sits on the couch, staring at the glow of the TV he forgot to turn on, realizing how betrayal doesn't just destroy love, It erases the version of himself that believed in it. Lila leaves for work early now, her eyes swollen from crying, makeup barely hiding it. Ethan stays home more often, claiming he's on leave. The truth is, he can't bear the world outside yet. The whispers have started among their friends. He knows because Nora texted, asking if he's okay. He typed, "Yeah," and deleted it. Every notification from his phone feels like static. Every sound a trigger. He opens Lila's laptop one afternoon, searching for he doesn't even know what. What he finds instead is worse than anything he imagined. Messages between her and Aaron, deleted from her phone, but synced to the cloud. He reads until his eyes sting. The messages aren't old. They go back months. Photos, private jokes, plans, things she'd never said to him. Each word tightens around his chest like wire. There's one message that breaks him completely. "He's been distant lately, but I'll end it soon." Sent 2 weeks before her trip. He closes the laptop, presses his palms to his eyes, and finally breaks. Not loud, not violent, just a single ragged sob that sounds like the truth escaping. That night, he doesn't confront her. He can't. Instead, he wanders through their old photos, the real ones, the happy ones, him and Lila at the beach, their first apartment, her birthday dinner. He stares at the faces of 2 people who don't exist anymore. His thumb lingers on one picture, her laughing, mid-spin, eyes on him. For a moment, he almost feels the warmth of that memory. Then it dissolves. Everything they built feels artificial now, scripted to disguise the truth. The next morning, Lila finds him at the kitchen table, still wearing last night's clothes. He doesn't look up when she enters. "I saw everything," he says simply. Her face drains of color. She starts to speak, but he lifts his hand, stopping her mid-word. "Don't," he whispers. "You've said enough." The words hang there, sharp and final. She stands frozen in the doorway, tears brimming. He picks up his mug, sips cold coffee, and stares out the window. Outside, the city moves on, oblivious, unstoppable. Inside, time stands still. Days pass in near silence. Lila tries to talk, to cry, to explain. But Ethan's gone somewhere she can't follow. He moves through the apartment like a stranger, gathering his things in quiet motions, as if noise might break him further. One evening, she stands in the doorway, whispering, "Please, I'll do anything. We can fix this." He finally looks at her, eyes raw but calm. "You broke something we can't name," he says softly, "and I can't build something I don't believe in anymore." The words don't come from anger, they come from exhaustion. For the first time, he feels like he is telling the truth. That night, Ethan sits at his desk, writing a letter. His handwriting shakes, not from anger, but from the weight of finally letting go. He doesn't write accusations, only memories. The first time she kissed him in the rain. The way she used to trace circles on his arm while falling asleep. And then, the night she said, "You can trust me." He ends it with one line. "I loved who we were, but I can't keep loving who you became." He folds it, places it neatly inside an envelope, and presses it flat with his palm. He prints the photos, the ones from Greece, the proof that changed everything. Each sheet emerges slowly, the images almost too cruel in their beauty. He arranges them on the table beside the letter, not out of vengeance, but so she'll know he saw it all. When the printer stops, the room is silent, except for his slow breathing. He slides off his ring, sets it gently on top of the pile, and whispers, "This was real, once." For the first time, the ache in his chest feels lighter. Before dawn, he places the letter, the photos, and the ring on Lila's pillow. She sleeps deeply, lashes wet with dried tears. He stands over her for a long moment, memorizing her face. Not the face of the woman who betrayed him, but the one he once loved, without doubt. He brushes a strand of hair from her cheek, whispers, Goodbye, so softly that it sounds like breath. Then he turns, shoulders heavy but steady, and walks out into the fading dark. As the sun rises, Ethan walks down the quiet street, suitcase trailing behind him. The city is waking up, storefronts opening, buzzes hissing at corners. He feels the morning air against his face, sharp and new. For the first time in weeks, he breathes without shaking. Behind him, the apartment fades into anonymity, just another place where love lived and died. He doesn't look back. Ahead, the horizon glows with faint gold, like forgiveness waiting somewhere he hasn't reached yet. Months pass. The pain doesn't vanish. It changes shape. Ethan learns to live beside it, like an echo fading a little more each day. His new apartment is smaller, simpler, and quiet in a way that feels earned. Sometimes he still catches himself checking his phone out of habit, expecting a message that will never come. But then he breathes, steady and unhurried, and the moment passes. The silence that once tortured him now feels like peace. He starts painting again, something he'd stopped years ago. Each brushstroke feels like reclaiming a part of himself that Lila never knew. He passes a cafe one afternoon and sees a couple laughing across from each other, sunlight catching their joined hands. For a moment, he feels something unfamiliar. Not envy, not sadness, but understanding. Love isn't the problem, he thinks. It's the people who forget what it costs. He sits down inside, orders a coffee, and lets himself simply exist among the noise and chatter. When his phone buzzes with a message from Nora asking how he's doing, he finally answers. Better. And for once, he means it. One evening, he opens his laptop and scrolls through the old shared cloud one last time. The folder still sits there. Santorini 2025. His hands hover over the trackpad. He opens it, stares at the faces that once made him unravel, and then without hesitation he selects everything and presses delete. The progress bar crawls slowly, pixel by pixel until it's gone. The emptiness left on the screen feels like oxygen. For the first time since she left, he smiles. Small, real, unforced. He walks along the river the next morning, crisp air biting gently at his face. The world feels alive again. Runners passing, dogs barking, children laughing. He stops on a bridge, watching the water ripple gold under the rising sun. Somewhere in that reflection, he sees not loss, but renewal. He thinks of Lila, not with anger, not even sadness, but gratitude. She taught him how fragile trust is, and how strong he could be when it broke. That night, Ethan sits by his window, city lights flickering below like distant constellations. He exhales slow and even, and lets the quiet wrap around him. The memories don't hurt anymore. They just exist, like photographs in a closed drawer. He leans back, eyes half closed, the faint hum of life outside blending with his heartbeat. For the first time, he isn't haunted by what was lost. He's humbled by what remains, himself. The final shot lingers on his reflection in the glass, steady, calm, whole again.